Okay, in this tutorial I'm going to go through multiple rounds, maybe one video at a time, in a new multiplayer game that I set up with a fellow playtester and good friend. So this is a 4-player game. I haven't done anything yet in this game. There's 2 of us humans playing and there's 2 AI. Most of the maps that I've set up so far are set up so that you can win with one other person. That's kind of one of the fun things I like with Armada Pet Wars, is to allow you to win with somebody else. You don't have to beat everybody, including your allies, most times, unless the map is set up that way. So the strategy for this game and kind of the design of the game is such that every time you start a new game, there's going to be some randomness and changes in how the technology is set up, what kind of technology you have for your ships, what kind of technology you have for industry and other things like that. And the AI will have different starting ships, and same with the different planets that you're going to be invading to grow your empire. But basically, your strategy starting out is to determine what technology you've been given, because everyone's given kind of this exact same starting technologies, but they have to make decisions on what to do with that. And you basically have a few goals. So here's the 4-player map. There's 4 total empires. I'm the purple empire in this case. And what I want to do is I want to get my industry going, get some technology going so I can start to research. That's really important. Build a small fleet. I start with enough funds, resources here to start building stuff, building both industry and an army and a fleet, so I can start to attack these border planets, these gray ones. And then when I get past them, I'm going to run into another player. So if it's a human player, I could make alliances with them, which is my goal here. My friend and I are just going to ally together, and we're going to take on the 2 computer players wherever they are. I don't know which player my friend is yet, but I'll find out. We'll just tell each other. In a bigger game, it's a lot more interesting in a way, because you could have up to 8 players, all human, making alliances and backstabbing each other, just like a board game of Risk or Diplomacy or something like that. But this is a simpler game. Regardless of what type of game it is, the starting phase of kind of growing your empire is similar, but the way that you're going to grow it will be different every game because of the technology thing that I told you about. Okay, so here's the industry I have. You can see I have these different little icons underneath. That's the different industry under each of these planets. You see that this planet has a 40. That means it has 40 cities. That's your home world. This is your starting pet. In my case, it's Patrick. And I have a couple starting ships, which in this case are 2 corvettes of a turtle design. And I have these surrounding planets, and they're flashing red. The reason they're flashing red is they're telling me, the game's telling me that there's 20 cities I can make do stuff, and I only have 10 of them doing something right now. And you can see from here, it's 5 are in research centers and 5 are yellow factories, and so on and so on. So I have to kind of decide how to set up all these planets. When you sell industry, you get back the resources instantly, 100%, but you don't get back the credits. The credits is the green. And so when you are changing what a planet does, it is going to cost you in credits, and so you want to kind of be wary of that. You don't have infinite credits. Okay, so I mean, I could just kind of talk about how this thing works, but I'm just going to start to play it, and then I'll try to explain what I'm doing. So the very first thing I like to do is go to the technology tree. So here's the technology tree. It's set up in multiple rows, and this is different for every game. So what I've done, the way I designed the game, is that the earlier technologies will be kind of in the left, and the mid-game technologies will be in the middle, and the late-game technologies will be in the right. But what technology depends on what other technology is randomized. If the technology that you see here is cyan colored, that means you've already researched it. So you kind of get a starting number of technologies, and you'll notice that in some case, some of these rows, you're starting with a technology that's quite a ways down, right? Like, so for example, we have this phaser gun thing. We have fusion missiles ready to go. That's by design. It kind of makes the game fun and different every time you play. The other thing you'll notice is that some of these technologies have like a yellow highlighting, and there's a like a yellow highlighted word, and the other ones don't. The yellow ones are the ones you can research. You'll also see that there's another way to look at it is there's a little blue beaker here. That means how many of you added to the ones you research. If I click here, I can't do anything. But if I click here, oh, how come I can't research anything? I have no research centers. What is going on here? Oh, right. Okay, I was already starting to play this game, and so I'd already started to do my turn. But I'll stop doing that. I'll go backwards just to show you the way I'm thinking. So you'll always start with some research, or you should if it's a well-designed map. So I have 50 research beakers to use up. Like I was saying, you can only put them on, see, like they're going up by increments of 5. That's the default, but you can change it to 1. Run to go like more precise, or 10 is the highest you can go at any one time. The number you'll see here is the % chance of you getting that research next round. And what are these other buttons? So these are just kind of zoomy buttons. Because the research tree is always different, it can be hard to remember where you're supposed to like what are interesting technologies that you want. So for example, if I want to see like what kind of ships I have or don't have, there's interceptors are there, and then it just kind of goes up. Corvettes, there's like nuclear drones, and so on. It'll kind of jump around the map, and you can do that for industry, for armies, for specialized weapons and anti-missile guns and drones, and so on. This one will jump around to any technology that you're starting to research but you haven't yet, and those are kind of the zoomy buttons right now. So what am I thinking about when I'm looking at this? I'm basically thinking about getting better research centers would be the first thing. So you can see here advanced research centers is pretty quick. I just have to get advanced shipyards and then I can get advanced research centers. So I'm likely going to go for that. So I'm just going to put all my research into this because I want to get better research centers right away if I can. The other thing you're always looking for is industry, the higher industry. So like advanced crystal mines is pretty close. I could get alloy factories and synthetic systems right away, so that's really good. So you can make your planets build more resources for you. But I remember from looking at this briefly before I made this tutorial, I believe that there is, oh yeah, look at this, there's intelligent alloy factories, crystal mines, and synthetic systems all in the same row, which is very rare. And these are the highest level you can get. But I have to go through 4 researches in a row of different things before I can get to these. So this is what makes it fun. You have to make a decision. Do you want to go for the best, kind of have crappier industry for a little while, and then go for the best ones here and then upgrade your planets? Or go with the ones that are easily available right now and then upgrade to these better ones later? So something to think about before I have to make that decision. I'm just going to try to get these better research centers because I don't have a lot of research to work with right now. Okay, so that's my first thing I do is my technology. And now that I know kind of what industry is there, I have to decide, well, what am I going to do with my planets? I don't want them to be flashing red. I want them to be doing stuff. So another thing to keep in mind is that a planet that is 20 city high, 20, 10, 15, or 5, or less, so 20 or less, it doesn't matter what you put, they're just going to build whatever industry they have. It's very simple. But when you have a 30 or a 40 or a 50 planet, anything higher than 20, you can turn that planet into what's called a resource planet. And it gives you a bonus if you make only the one colored factory and you turn it into that colored resource planet. It'll kind of boost that planet, but you can put other industry there, but they're not going to work, if that makes any sense. So this map is set up so you have your home planet, which is a 40 planet, kind of has all your shipyards. And by the way, if you highlight over a planet, it'll kind of tell you in detail what you're producing every round. So you can see on my home planet, I'm making I can make armies and shipyards. I have fleet capacity through my shipyards. I do research, design, and simulation, which you have to do with industry here. But I'm going to take my 30 planets and I'm going to change each one into a particular color because I'll get a little boost. So what you do is, in this case, I'll sell these 5 blue ones, buy all red, so I'm buying all the red I can, and click this little button, planet type, make it a red planet type. And that's all you got to do. So if you highlight over, you see that it's a red border instead of like a gray border. That means that it's designated to be a red resource maker now. I like to make my 20 planets all into research, so I'm going to get rid of these 5 of those factories and then go buy all research done. So they're going to make that. You can see these little symbols that tells you that you've bought and sold industry here. Just kind of reminds you you've done work here, you've done turns, stuff like you made orders, I guess, for the next round to be activated. Okay, so this one I made a red one, right? So this one I'm going to make a blue one. So sell these red ones, buy all blue. You can just click on them too. I'm just doing a little faster, and click on the blue button. So that's going to make a lot of blue. This one I'm going to sell these guys, and I'm going to make all research centers. Even though they're crappy research centers, I'm still going to buy them. It might be a mistake because I could be researching the new ones as of next turn, so I'm kind of wasting money. I'm wasting 15,000 credits by doing this. That might be not really worth it, but I'm going to do it anyways. And lastly over here, because I'm getting rid of all of these, I'm just going to say sell all. Buy all crystal mines, make it a yellow. And lastly over here, I'm just gonna buy all research, because I know I'm going to be getting rid of those soon. Yeah, I think that's good. Actually, I'll just show you how to cancel an order. So I'm going to cancel those 10 and cancel selling those. So why am I doing that? Well, it's good to show you how you cancel orders, but also I think it's a little bit more efficient. So I'm still using up all the cities, but I'm going to be getting rid of these crappy research centers soon anyway, so I might as well just leave these alone because I'm not wasting as much credits, and I'll do the same thing there. So let's go there and like that. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. Now what's the next thing I need to do? Okay, so I kind of have an industry going, a very basic one. I did a little bit of technology. Now if you look at these buttons at the bottom, there's 3 more. There's design, simulation, and market. In the early game, you're going to kind of have a starting turn where you're doing all this stuff, but then it's kind of going to be less for you to do until you kind of get going. So it's a good time to explain design and simulation. So ship design is one of the funnest parts of this game. When you decide what to build, all your ships there's lots of different types of ships, and you're going to be setting them up based on quadrants, and based on technologies, you're going to kind of build out a ship that'll do different things. So you're going to design them here, and you can see these little numbers down here. I can design 2 ships a turn, that's it. And I can simulate 2 ship battles worth of stuff a turn. And so you can get more of these numbers by building more design centers and simulation centers, just so you understand how that works. And then this 6 means I have those 2 starting ships, and I can have a maximum of 8 ships that I can build, but that's 8 small ships. You see, like this hull type, the Scout is a 1, it's a value of 1. But if I go to allow all technology, because you can always design stuff that you can't actually make because you don't have the technology, just for like planning purposes and for fun. So like I can go all the way, these are all the different hull types of their drones. So here's like the biggest, the Super Dreadnought. It takes up 4 ship points, for example, and it has a lot more space in it to build really cool stuff. And similar, you can simulate any designs. These are the default designs of this map, and this is randomized based on the map configuration. And so you could take any of these, and these are actually the designs. It's important to note, these are the designs that the computer players will only use, and these are the only designs that you'll see on those gray planets. So that's very good information for you. You can kind of see that, for example, I can see that, I know that, and you'll know this more as you play, this design, the Josie, is got autocannons. Those are too high technology for smaller planets. So the planets that you're going to be invading, these 10 planets, they're going to use lower technology ships to defend themselves. When you get to the bigger planets like these 30s, and if there's a 20, here's a 20, or a 15 if there was one around here, they're going to use higher level technology ships. So you can kind of get a rough feel for what's going to be on these planets. You can also scan them with radar stations if you can build those, or you could just send a sacrifice ship over and see what's over there and let it die and watch the battle. So going back to simulation, the Charger, okay, you could play against this one in level 1, the Turtle, the Cosmo, the Phoenix, yep, these are all lower level. The Raven, no. The Wasp, no. The Conway, yes. The Ruby, no. And these bigger ships, no. So these are all the ships you could play against. So if you kind of highlight over each one, you can kind of see what they have. You can look at them in detail here in the design screen, by the way. But this one has missiles. This one has direct fire weapons, direct fire. Mostly all direct fire. Only one has missiles. So your designs don't have to worry too much about missiles, but it's probably good to have some anti-missile guns. So you can use that to, when you make your design, it'll pop up here, and then you can click on it, and then you can kind of like see how your design does. First of all, make sure it's not a design that doesn't kind of work very well, but also you can see how it does against the computer designs. Okay, but I'm going to quickly do that. So what do I have here? So I have a escort carrier, but you know what I don't have? I don't have a drone. So don't build escort carriers without drones. Escort carriers launch drones, and they're very powerful because the drones are expendable. Once they die in a battle, they're gone for that battle, but the escort carrier will create new drones for the next battles as long as the escort carrier doesn't die. So if you have a bunch of escort carriers, they'll launch waves of drones, and that'll really distract the other fleet, and then your ships can go in and blow them up. And the drones themselves are quite powerful too. They can have big guns on them and some shields and armor to soak up some damage as well. But I don't have any drones. If I went to the technology tree quickly and clicked on this little guy, I can see, where were those drones? There they are. So light nuclear drones are pretty easy to research. So instead of researching research centers, if I wanted to make an escort carrier with drones, I could research this, but I'm not going to do that because I have a heavy corvette as a starting technology, which is quite nice. The heavy corvette's quite a good starting ship because it only takes one space here, but it has pretty decent space to make it fairly powerful for an early ship design. And if you look at the weapons I start with, A means anti-missile system. Those are really important when you're fighting any ship that shoots missiles, because missiles are very powerful unless you can shoot them down. Although we already determined that the computer only has one ship that shoots missiles, so maybe not as important, but still important in the case we do have to fight that ship, because missiles will blow you up pretty quick if you don't have something like that. So I'm gonna go back here. Where was it here? The light nuclear missile. So you see how there's different colors? Light nuclear missile is purple and AMS phaser gun is cyan. Purple means that it's an impact weapon. And so why am I looking at that? If you go to design, I actually, by fluke, I have both the anti-missile guns. This is fairly rare, but I have both of them that I could build. So I could, for example, click on the back and put one here. And you can see the arc is 360 degrees. That means that it doesn't matter which way you point the anti-missile gun, it'll shoot down missiles from any direction, just so you understand how that works. But the AMS Graviton gun is it does well against impact missiles, so missiles, and then it does better anyways. And then the phaser gun is a energy anti-missile gun, and that does better against photon torpedoes, like torpedoes, which are energy-based missiles. So because we know that the default ships we're going to run to at the beginning are impact missiles, we should probably have an AMS Graviton gun. Graviton guns also need ammo, where the phaser guns do not, but phaser guns take more power and are slower to track. So we're going to get the Graviton gun. We're going to need also at least one. We can get 100 shots out of it. That's pretty good. So that's a functioning weapon now. And you don't have to put the ammo in the same spot as the gun. It can go in any ammo can go in any of the quadrants. It'll just move them around. But if the ammo gets hit, when you take a hit, your gun won't work anymore unless you have more than one ammo, which is common. Okay, what else can I do here? That's not helpful. Where are my weapons here? Okay, so I can. So I have a light nuclear torpedo, not great, really small. That's the AMS gun. Oh, I have a heavy phaser gun, so direct fire gun, and I have some missiles, medium nuclear missiles. What am I gonna do here? The missiles have a longer range, so a lot of these guys that are coming at me are going to be coming at me with direct fire weapons, which have a shorter range by default, generally speaking. So I might want to try to build a ship design that can shoot them from far away with missiles, but I'll have to have enough of them that enough missiles are flying at them that their anti-missile guns can't survive the volley of missiles. So I'm going to try to do that. So these take 6 slots. I have 10 slots per quadrant. I could probably fit in 2 of these guns, and I'm going to point them. The way you point them matters because you can put the gun in any quadrant and you can point it in any direction. And what that'll do is when your ship flies at the enemy, once it gets in range, it'll turn so it can shoot those guns. So I'm going to make this design so that it turns to the left and shoots off of its starboard side, like a broadside. So I'll have one of the weapons on the port side, and I'll have it pointing to the starboard side. And what was it again? I was going to use this medium nuclear missile. And I'll put another one in the front, shooting to the right or to the starboard side. You'll see these numbers. This is how long it takes to track, 8 seconds. I don't have any power yet. I'm going to have to do that right away. I'm going to need ammo as well. You see I need ammo. It kind of lets you know here some of the invalid things in your design until you fix those things. Okay, so I have a couple of weapons. I got an anti-missile gun for defense. Now I need to put in the basic stuff to make the ship move. So this is the starship engines. Generally I like to put a little bit in every quadrant because then if one gets shot down you still can move. Similarly, I'll put in some rotation thrusters so it can turn. If you look at the top right corner, you'll see the rotation goes up. Every hull type has a max rotation. The smaller ships can rotate better than the bigger ships. Rotation of 10 is okay. I would put in one more, maybe 2 more, 15, so it'll turn a little faster and get shooting. Acceleration of 2 is not very fast, but this ship is not trying to close quickly. It's trying to close fairly slowly, turn quickly, and shoot as much as it can, as fast as it can. So I want to save space for power. It also it has energy batteries. Energy batteries are good for a lot of things. They're really good, especially for anti-missile guns. They can shoot things down faster, but I don't think I need them here because I'm not going to have a lot of missile type ships I'm going to fight against. So I'm going to just load up on power, which is power plants. So let's get some power plants in here. If I had tracking computers, that would be nice, but I haven't researched those yet, and I wasn't given them at the beginning of the game. Okay, that's a lot of power. Maybe a little too much power. I think maybe I can take a few pieces of power out of the starboard side. Now remember, this design is going to turn to the left and shoot out its starboard side. So the starboard side will be exposed likely when it gets attacked by the enemy ship, so I'm going to give it a little bit of protection. Oh, but I can't because I have no armor and no shields here. So yeah, this ship just doesn't have that. Okay, that's interesting. Maybe I'll give a few batteries then. What batteries do is they'll store up energy that if you're not using it, like when you're closing, the ships generally close with each other and there's a kind of a starting phase where nobody's shooting. And ships start with a full battery anyways. And so what the battery does is when the ship is not using its power, it'll charge up the batteries, and that'll allow for instant power when needed, which is very helpful, especially for anti-missile guns, but it can also be useful for the carrier designs for all ships in certain ways. So I think this is a decent design. I have to give it a name. It'll give you a default name, but you can always change it to whatever you want. So I'm going to call it the Hammy. That was one of my old hamsters. Okay, so submit design. Oh, no, here's this nice. It says no ammo installed. Okay, so I screwed up. Okay, I see what I did. I didn't put any ammo in for my missiles. So I'm going to get rid of all those batteries and take 1 power out of each spot. And I'm going to put 1 missile ammo in each spot. So I have lots of ammo now. Okay, now I can do it. So the Hammy's good. I click Submit Design. That has been submitted. Now you see I only have 1 design left that I could do. You don't have to use up all your designs, but you don't get to save these for the next turn. If you don't use them, you lose them. So now I'm going to simulate my Hammies against some bad guy ships. So the Hammies are right here. So I'm going to have probably a bunch of Hammies. I can have 5 Hammies. You can have more ships to simulate if you have more simulation points. So you have to build more simulation factories or simulation centers, they're called. Think of it as engineers that are doing simulations for your empire. You have to build more of them on your planets if you want to have more interesting simulations to see. And what will I go against? I'll go against the chargers. Those are the ones with the missiles. Maybe a turtle and a Cosmo and definitely not that guy, and a Phoenix. Okay, that seems pretty fair. I have a little bit more cost on my side. You can see kind of the total value of each side. I'll click submit. So this is not costing me anything. I would lose these points anyway, so I might as well use them. You press spacebar to get the game going. You can use the mouse, or you can use WASD, or on your Steam Deck. You know, this works all on the Steam Deck as well. So here they are flying. You right click to kind of see or take off their shields and armor. That's what the blue is. This is, if you click on it, you'll see kind of what the ship is doing. So the Cosmo's charging in. And what are my guys doing? Oh, see, they're starting to turn. Now they're going to start shooting their missiles. Okay, so you can see the missiles are flying in, and they're doing a pretty good job. Once they get closer, though, they're going to start to get... Oh, unless I can get that guy. Okay, it looks like, anyways, the ships are functioning, which is what I wanted to double check. They seem to fire pretty well. They fire their missiles. Kind of see how they track, and they fire 2 at a time, because sometimes if you don't have enough power, it'll only fire 1 at a time. You want it to be firing together. So it looks like a decent thing. Oh, and he got his shots off. Let's see how my anti-missile guns do. 4 is a lot of missiles. Yeah, I got hit pretty hard there. That's okay. It's an okay design. It's not the best design. I think it'll do this job. I do need fleet tactics. I didn't talk about fleet tactics. Forgot about that. And I'll explain that. That'll be more for the next video. But I'm going to want to research simple fleet tactics. Actually, I think I recommend that you all get this as early as you can, before you start, at least before you start invading other planets. 10 planets are pretty big, so you want to keep that in mind. Okay, the second last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to build out these ships. I'm going to get rid of these turtles because they suck in my mind. So, to get rid of them, click on your planet, click on shipyards, click on scrap, and just scrap them. So I don't get anything back for scrapping them, but I'm doing it so I can get back the capacity, because I want all my new ships in there. So I'm scrapping those, which lets me buy my new ship, the Hammy. So I'm going to buy 8 Hammies. That's a lot of Hammies, which I'm going to need. And now, because I have Army building factory as well, Army installation, I can build 3 Army regiments, the mechanized ones. So that's good. My pet doesn't really help me right now. I'll explain pets in another video. Last thing I want to show you quickly is the market. I'm not really using this right now, but I will be using it soon, because I've blown through most of my money here. Okay, so that's it. I'm going to end my turn. I'm guessing my friend probably ended his turn already, so let's see what happens. Oh, he didn't end his turn. Okay, so if he had ended his turn, I would go to the next round and I could show you my next round. But that's okay, I'll show you that in another video.